Hey guys, I hope you're all doing really well on this lovely summer's day here in the UK. And I'm just going to get stuck straight in to today's video because it's all about Battlefield Hardline and the latest patch. Those of you who follow Hardline still will know that there was a patch just yesterday and it contained a few balance changes and a few bug fixes and whatnot. But I'm not going to read out the entire patch notes. We will touch on a few of them, but my video is kind of going to be about what isn't in the patch notes. Now, before I get going with this video, though, I want to just say this. I'm not saying these things to hate on Hardline. I actually like Hardline. I enjoy playing it. Secondly, I don't think many people could say that they have reached max rank in the game, let alone any other YouTubers. So let's put this to bed right now. I'm saying these things because I want Hardline to improve. I enjoy the game. And clearly that is backed up by the fact that I've already reached max rank. So this isn't out of a hatred point of view, this is out of a want for the game to get better. My problem is that some of the CTE changes should have been in this update. As far as I see it, there's been CTE changes in Battlefield 4 that have been in the CTE version since last Christmas. And they are still not in Battlefield Hardline. Universal Soldier Aiming, that's not in Battlefield Hardline. Some of the latest netcode fixes that are in the CTE right now, some of which have already made it to Battlefield 4, they're still not in Battlefield Hardline. And that's a little bit absurd to me, okay? I'm going to give you an analogy that somebody said to me. The analogy is, let's say you've got a car manufacturer. Let's say Ford, for argument's sake. And Ford have made this beautiful car, let's call it the Mondeo. Fantastic car, runs really well. It does have a flaw though. The engine breaks down. It's got a problem with the engine. Let's say the engine block is flawed. They spend lots and lots of time. They fix the problem. They recall all the cars. Boom. Car repaired. Fan-bloody-tastic. At the same time, they're making another car. Let's call it the Fiesta. Okay, so they're making this other car, and they're like, hey guys, we've got this new car in a different market now. Please come and buy it. Everyone's like, yeah, fantastic. Well, we won't have those problems we had with the Mondeo again, will we? Because they fixed it. Unfortunately, they released the Fiesta with the same broken engine that they already fixed in their last car. How does that make sense? It doesn't. If you have a game that you fixed in CTE, then 6 months later you release a new game using the same engine without any of the netcode updates that you just made your other game better with, that's absolute madness. That is madness. If you look at this objectively, the game has been released in a state that is not as good as it could have been. They have released the game knowing that it could have been better, because they know that all the CTE changes that make the netcode improvements, all of that, are not in the game. Unfortunately, due to money, and it's a business world now, and all these other things, they have to release it. But unfortunately, Battlefield Hardline, I think, is suffering because of it. That's not the only reason. The CTE changes, as far as I'm concerned, I think it should be in the game. Not only that, all the premium features that they're promoting if you buy premium, none of them are even ready. The actual gun bench, yep, that's not ready yet. All the leaderboards and tournaments, yeah, that's not ready yet, not even on Battlelog. Okay, so where exactly on Origin are you saying these premium features are not yet in the game? You've not said it anywhere. So that, for a start, I think is wrong. You should say, when you're selling premium, these premium features will come somewhere down the line. Now, yesterday they also announced that there will be a CTE for Battlefield Hardline. That's going to start next month. And they're also going to trial one of their new maps, Criminal Activity. Now, this is great. I'm not going to knock on the fact that they're going to release a CTE version of Hardline. I think overall, that's a great idea. My gripe with it is that it's at the wrong time. Why are you spending time building a CTE version of Hardline when right now you actually know 90% of the fixes that you need to do, and they've also been tested on the other CTE version? Granted, there's always more testing that can be done, but in my eyes, this CTE version should have been worked on and announced after they had released the first sort of patch, if you like, covering all the CTE changes that they'd already tested in the Battlefield 4 CTE. That's how I think it should have been done. Unfortunately, the content for Battlefield Hardline can get a bit tiresome. Now, I'm all for having certain modes on certain maps. I've said this before, I think it works better because some modes just don't work on some maps. Unfortunately, the problem Hardline has is that with only 9 maps, you very much limit the possibility of your playing. And if you're going to do that system, you need a few more maps. I've talked a little bit about Hotwire. Hotwire is just not enjoyable for me anymore because there's so many flaws with it that really need to be addressed. And I've done a video addressing all those, which I think a lot of people agreed with. So I think that needs to be improved. So I don't play Hotwire anymore. Rescue, in my book, cannot be played in public. It just doesn't work. It's a 5v5 game mode. And if you've got people dropping in, dropping out, it just doesn't work. Crosshair is a terrible mode. I don't think anyone's ever played it. So that's out. So you've got Heist, which I like, but the games end way too soon, so that gets a bit boring. Team Deathmatch, well, I don't want to sit and play Team Deathmatch all day. The only other options I'm left with is Blood Money, which I really enjoy, and Conquest. Those are the only real ones I'm left with. So when you actually knock it down to an individual player's perspective, it's like, well, actually, yeah, there isn't really that many choices. And not all maps really work that well on Blood Money. Most of them work pretty well on Conquest, though. So, Battlefield Hardline does have some issues, and the player count is dropping. Something needs to be done, but unfortunately I don't think the CTE is that thing. I think the game had so much potential, but it should have been released in a better state. I think if it had been released in the way that people expected it to be, with all the latest CTE changes, so taking Battlefield 4 in its updated form into a brand new game, like most people, including myself, expected, and with a few extra maps here and there, I think it would still be doing quite well right now. Hopefully, with the DLCs and the CTE adding some different content in it, it can be great, but I'm fed up of having to play a test version of the game to get the version of the game I paid for in the first place. I'm fed up of it now, to be honest with you. The CTE is a great idea. I love it. Unfortunately, as is the case with Battlefield 4 for the past 6-7 months, you had to play CTE to play the best version of the game. And that's exactly what it's going to be like with Hardline now. And I want to be able to play the vanilla game as the best version of the game. It's a little bit frustrating. But there we go. Hardline, hopefully, and I'm really hopeful it will improve over the next 6 months with some DLCs, the CTE. It really needs to. Thanks for listening, guys, and as always, I'll see you next time.